go live.
Yeah, I think we are live actually.
Perfect.
All right, let me get started here. I'm going to go right into it because I know we are a little bit behind this morning. So I'm going to start out here, sharing my screen really quickly. And I'm going to go through these slides a little faster than normal, but all right, so this morning, our discussion, Startup Insider. So we are going to be talking with some South Florida Accelerator Program directors this morning. Shana Ostrovitz, Executive Director at 1909, Jessica Beaver, the Associate Director at FAU Tech Runway, Miguel Cruz, the Miami Manager at 500 Startups, and John Wensveen, the Chief Innovation Officer at NSU. And of course, I have to mention this week that it's Global Entrepreneurship Week, started yesterday through Sunday the 22nd. We have been working with a bunch of different companies and partners. You can see some of the logos below: Boca Code, Startup Grind, Venture Cafe, General Assembly, FAU, Office Depot, 1909, a bunch of awesome people here. And really, definitely check out, it's soflogew.com, so SOFLOGEW.com, and there's a whole list of different events and workshops there for everybody. And a little bit about Palm Beach Tech. Our whole goal and mission is to build South Florida into a tech hub. So, oh, sorry, that was last night's sponsor, apologize. Carrie Stant gets an extra little added boost there. So a little bit about our organization. So we currently are at a little over 200 corporate members. We work with a lot of our colleges, universities, coding schools, and of course the corporate headquartered companies that are here that make up our tech ecosystem. And just to give you guys an idea, these are some of the companies and members that we currently work with. So we've got the new startups such as Boca Code, like Todd that's on here this morning, to our Florida Crystals and Carriers, City Furnitures, the much larger organizations, because obviously everybody brings a little bit to the table to make our ecosystem whole here. And a little bit about the memberships. So corporate memberships, we have everything from different member spotlights. We have customized member profiles, different speaking opportunities such as this morning, and a whole lot more. So if you're interested in learning more about our corporate memberships, you can go to palmbeachtech.org, and there should be a button there. It's join today to get more info. Community creed. So Palm Beach Tech is wholeheartedly committed to building a welcoming, collaborative, and inclusive community for all. We put inclusivity first, engage with others, and are considerate to all, and don't sell to people. So in short, we just want to make sure that everybody is included, no matter of your background. A little bit on our events. We currently, just because of time, I'm not going to go through them all, but we currently have about 4 to 5 events every week. So there's different tech talks, podcasts, workshops. There's more than enough stuff to get involved in. But again, if you go to palmbeachtech.org and click on our calendar there, you will be able to see all of our weekly events. Resume distributor. For anybody that's looking for a job, we do have a career tab also on the website where there's an actual job board, but then the resume distributor, if you guys look through the job board and don't see something specifically that you'd like to apply for, you can actually upload your resume and send it to all of our members all at once through the distributor. And last but not least here, our Slack channel is a very active Slack channel, so you can actually join that at southfloridatech.com/Slack. And the easiest thing to do in order to get added to our e-newsletter is you can actually just text us your email address to 561-250-7206. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen there. There we go. All right. And what I'm going to do to start out here this morning is I'm going to have each of our speakers, if you could introduce yourselves, just tell us your name, where you're from, a little bit about your organization, and then we'll go right into the Q&A. So I'm actually going to start with first on my screen here, I've got Shana from 1909.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. It just started downpouring here, so if you hear the rain, sorry about that. I'm the Executive Director of 1909, as Nikki mentioned. I have been in this ecosystem for a good amount of time now. I had my first startup here about 6 years ago. Before there was kind of a lot in place, a couple years in, we were lucky enough to be part of Tech Runway. Which is a really amazing experience, and yeah, now I get to help kind of be a part of the ecosystem and build it and help amazing entrepreneurs bring great ideas to life. and really add to our community that we live in here. So I'm just excited to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Shana. And next I've got Jessica.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Beaver. I'm the Associate Director of FAU Tech Runway, and we are an accelerator for early stage startups located in Boca Raton, but we also will work up in the Jupiter campus, and we're looking to expand down to the Broward campus. But we pretty much touch the region with all of our startups. I've been with Tech Runway since 2015, and I now oversee all operations and programming. And prior to working at FAU, I did live in New York City, and I worked for the NBA and the related companies, which definitely helped when I moved back down here because entrepreneurs like to move and you need to be on their pace with them. But I'm originally from Boca Raton, Florida, so I am true Floridian, and I received my BA from the University of Colorado, and I'm just happy to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Jessica. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jessica, aren't you? I read an article recently that you are one of the, or if not the longest standing FAU Tech Runway employee right now.
Yes, I am.
Oh, nice.
And as of about a week and a half ago, I had been promoted to pretty much running the organization. Reese Williams, our amazing managing director, has moved to focusing on corporate investment. So his bread and butter, where he literally goes out and helps companies raise capital and find funding. And so I've kind of taken over the other side of things, which is running.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Congrats. So let's see. Next, I've got here Miguel.
Thanks so much, Nikki. Hi, everybody. My name is Miguel Cruz. 500 Startups is a global VC fund. We happen to deploy our capital through various accelerator programs that we run around the world. We also run accelerator programs that are strictly training, and that's what we'll get into when we discuss the Miami one. I personally, originally from Cuba, but I moved to Dallas when I was 2. Grew up in Dallas and moved down to Miami back in 2011, I believe. So it's been a while, but happy to chat more. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Miguel. And last but not least, we've got John.
Thank you, Nikki, and good morning to everybody. My name is John Wensveen, and I am the Chief Innovation Officer at Nova Southeastern University here in Fort Lauderdale, and also Executive Director of the Allen B. Levan NSU Broward Center of Innovation, which is a new economic development engine that's coming to South Florida in the summer of 2021. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to expand upon that throughout today's conversation. And in terms of background, I come from the aviation industry, primarily focused on the airline startup world, and have also held a number of leadership positions in higher education, and as well as being an entrepreneur, including a successful exit as a publicly traded company. And thank you for having me, and happy to celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week with everybody.
Thank you, John. And I wanted to, going right into the questioning, I'm not familiar just with our audience today, who's familiar with accelerators and who's not. So my first question to the panel this morning is just in your own words, can you describe what is an accelerator and how they can benefit the startups involved? And anybody can take that question.
I'll jump in then. Okay, no, girls, ladies first.
No, it's really okay. What I was going to say, and probably what'll be interesting throughout, is I think because we are so early stage at 1909, we probably have like a different setup and definition of what we do, which is a good thing. We all kind of serve different roles in different stages of companies here. So what's really interesting about what we do is I would say the word accelerator probably is not a good fit, because sometimes you think of that as like throwing gasoline on the fire and you're supposed to move really quick. But a lot of times, in different accelerator programs, especially ours, it's actually asking companies to slow down a little bit to really identify and get clear on some of the things that they need to get clear on before moving forward in their business. So, really understanding their customers and doing customer interviews, really understanding the fundamentals and foundation of how to set their business up in terms of structure and process and all of those things. So I think the word is funny sometimes because it could be a little misleading, and sometimes people come in and they're like, in 6 months or a year, I'm going to be like an exploded company, when really sometimes you have to slow down first to go faster. And that can happen often in accelerator programs, as you actually may slow down as a company but get much stronger, much better at process, much clearer what you're trying to do and who you're trying to help. And so for us, it's, a 6-month program where, we help companies identify that. We help founders get really clear on the problem they're trying to solve, who the target customer is, what solution they need to offer them, and how they really bring that to the world. So from our perspective, that's what it is. But you may hear different versions of that throughout.
So I'll jump in then. To me, an accelerator along the same lines as Shana probably has different meaning. And we're sitting in a situation right now where we're in the process of building an incubator and an accelerator, among other things, where we're focused on 4 very specific pillars that include ideate, incubate, accelerate, and post-accelerate. And to us, the accelerator is all of that, because we can support the founder's journey through the entire life cycle, from how do I create an idea to I have an idea, or I have a proof of concept, or I have a business that's doing fairly well that has the opportunity to grow. But at the end of the day, to me, it's really a collision station that connects founder communities and assists with the upscaling of those startups by providing customized programming, events, and a very comprehensive list of wraparound services, which often a lot of accelerator models don't have enough of in terms of resources. So for us, it's an opportunity to learn from others and then take that to the next level and really define what an accelerator is moving forward. But for us, it's really supporting the entire journey from birth through the 19th hole, if that makes any sense.
Pretty much what Shana and John said, I would say the exact same thing. I mean, I wrote a note down just really quickly this morning, and in my mind, it's a one-stop shop to an extent. Now, every accelerator offers something different, but for entrepreneurs, especially early stage, like Shana and I work with, as well as many of you might, they need a little more hand-holding. So it's something where they can come in, and we're not going to build their business, but we're going to help them, and we're going to provide them with everything they need so they're not struggling and scrambling. And many of them are doing other things as well. They might have jobs, they might be in school full time, they might have families. So we can make life easier for them and provide them everything that they need as much as possible, and just kind of get them to that point where maybe they leave our accelerator and move into the 1909 or move into someplace else and just continue learning and educating themselves. I think that's what we're all looking for in the end goal, and giving them the opportunity to get together. All these entrepreneurs, a lot of times I find that they think they're alone, and they're not. And so when you get them in a room together, even if it's an educational component, like how to read a term sheet or how to build, how to just tweak your business plan, they'll find that they have other entrepreneurs that they can relate to that are going through the same issues or have the same concerns. And all of a sudden they're building that peer group, and they have people they can bounce ideas off of, or at least talk to when they're struggling as well. So
I think everyone pretty much summarized it very well. 500 Startups perhaps operates a little bit later on, where we are looking to add rocket fuel to something that is growing. We're pretty adamant, primarily just because we're not going to say that we're the best at it. Incubation is not our thing. Acceleration is our thing. So we kind of work a little bit later on, but I think the definitions that everyone's mentioned is pretty spot on.
I actually, I love that, because we've got, a little bit of everything on here. So it's, everybody's at different stages, which I think is perfect, because Shana said it well, is I think instead of competition that we can all work together. So I think that's great. I did want to ask, which I've always been kind of curious about this myself, so I'm sure that there's probably a lot of people wondering this too, is what do you guys look for in these startups during the application process? Like, what stands out to you during that approval process?
Yeah, I'm happy to go first on this one. So it's interesting. That's actually something that my team and I reevaluated at the beginning of 2020 for not pandemic reasons, just because it was something we wanted to tweak. Typical accelerators, especially the ones that 500 Startups has run, we primarily just interview folks in about 30 minutes, and then we make a determination, and we recognize, hey, they're good or they're not. And if they are good, they make it through the program, and then we devote 8 weeks of our life to them. But if you do a lot of research in Harvard Business Review, you'll actually notice that only about 20% of those startups that you even select for your program actually grow. About 50 to 60% remain kind of stagnant, and then the rest, unfortunately, just cease to exist. And this is totally normal. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the nature of the business that we are in. So we actually went and flipped the model and tried to redesign our accelerator program We actually made it into 3 phases. Phase 1 is our sales acceleration method. Phase 2 is growth experiments, and phase 3 is preparing them for investment. And the whole idea is that we look at specific things about startups in each phase, because we've come to the realization that an interview alone or an application alone will not determine if a startup is going to grow or not, because startups are going to be on their best behavior. Founders will be on their best behavior. They're going to show you the stats that they want you to see. Great. Let's see what happens when we actually put you under some pressure and see if you can grow. So for us, it really comes down to team, product, and the business model. And as I mentioned earlier, we can't determine that in an interview. We need to get a closer look under the hood. And therefore, that's why we developed our tiered model.
I'll jump in then. Since we're an emerging model, we have an opportunity to reflect on what others are doing and learn from the successes, and then also learn from failures of other models across the nation and throughout the world. So as we start to look at our programming, again, focus on 4 specific pillars. When we look at potential applicants that can come into a program, we need to determine what pillar they are best suited for, because they may think that they're ready for an accelerator program. In reality, they're better suited for an incubator program, or vice versa. And one of our programs moving forward is to really support the defined targeted industries in Broward County and South Florida and the state of Florida. And these are the high wage, high growth sectors where we're looking to recruit new enterprise, we're looking to create new talent, home grow entrepreneurs, and place them within those verticals. And at the end of the day, there's a formula where we look for the right plan, the right money, and the right people. And often it's difficult to find a combination of all of those right things together. So if they're not on target, perhaps there's a way that we can help guide them in the right direction so that formula does come together. And we also have to understand if there's a market demand for that product or service, and is it a scalable opportunity, and do they have adequate funding already, or the potential to secure funding in order to scale that growth. And so for us, the accelerator is more than an accelerator. Again, it's 4 different worlds, and where do you best fit and place you accordingly. And then when you graduate from that program, then you're ready to be accelerated, if you will, into that next program, and so on.
So I'll jump in too, because again, probably 2 at different stages, and we're just a little, I would say, unconventional, although I think both Miguel and John kind of spoke to this. We are looking so much more at the founder than the idea. And in an early stage, the thing is that ideas will change, business models will change. So while it's important to understand the idea and the business model, what's more important to us is how that founder is thinking about the business and how they're thinking about the business model. And so we tend to ask a lot of questions around that. It's very common to have, a business canvas that, entrepreneurs are filling out throughout a program. We actually ask entrepreneurs to fill that out before they join the program, just to see how they answer the questions. And again, it's not to really look at the business or the idea itself, it's to understand how they're thinking about it. That's really important to us, because you need, for founder to be successful, they need to be adaptable, they need to be thinking about problems a certain way, they need to think about their team and resources a certain way, they need to have specific habits that allow them to get through the pressure, as Miguel mentioned. So we look at a lot of that. We ask a lot of questions around that to understand what they've been through, what their experiences are, how they would take on challenges. And again, you can never, find exactly, the perfect thing through interviews and questions, but we do really try to hone in on, is this person going to be successful no matter what the idea is? Because that's what we really want to do. We want to build founders. We want to build business leaders, because their idea may be amazing, or they may have a second idea that's amazing, or they may, join another company here and partner up with another startup that's amazing. So that's really what we look for a lot, is what are these founders like? How are they thinking about the ideas they're bringing to life? And how are they setting themselves up for success, and how can we help them?
Tech Runway similar to, with a mix of like Shana and John. We have certain industries that we look for. We definitely have certain criteria. They fill out a massive application, very detailed. There's a big process on the back end to get them in, including interviews. But one big thing kind of goes off Shana's point is we're looking for entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs who have that drive and that passion to do it. It's very easy for somebody to write on a napkin and go, I have an idea. And then it's, here, help me do my idea. It's like, no. We need you to at least show that there was some thought behind it. I have definitely seen people apply for our program and they don't even fill out the application. They just fill out the bare bones, and then it's, there's this confusion of why didn't I get in? And then you have somebody else who has no background at all, but you at least know they went online, they tried to look it up, they tried to figure things out. And that's what we're looking for is, did you at least make an effort? And now you're coming to us because you just don't know where to go. And on the another point is the commitment. We're not asking, or expecting 40 hours a week of them to focus in our accelerator or whatnot, but we need to know that if you're going to join and be a part of this program, we're putting a lot of time, effort, money, and resources towards you and building your business. And for us, it's free, or not for us, but for the entrepreneur, it's free. So it's out of our pocket. The space is free, the mentoring is free, the conferences are free. That we need to know you're at least giving back. You're attending mentor meetings, you're participating. We're not looking for perfection. We're just looking, like Shana said, to build these entrepreneurs, to create these founders that whether this business takes off or not, they have the tools in place to join another company, to build something else, or at least just to move forward and know what this means, what these terms are, so they can have those conversations with those investors or with other founders. So, every program is different, but I think the bottom line comes down to, is the founder going to take this seriously? Are they willing to listen? You give them advice, are they just going to kind of put their hand up and walk away, or are they going to actually listen? And then, that's where we come in to kind of give them the resources and hold their hand, and we'll help them as much as they help us. So.
That's very good. I was picking up on a common theme of, a lot of times it's not just the idea, it's the person, it's the founder themselves that's going to make the big difference. So I caught that, a little bit of that from all of you. My next question, I think, is more for our community. So why are accelerators so important in the startup ecosystem and for our local economy? Like, what would you tell to the community? Why should they care?
I'll just jump in really quick. I'll make this short. I think accelerators serve multiple roles. They don't only assist entrepreneurs, but they bring business to the community. You have, along with creating jobs, that's one end goal, is you're creating jobs. You're bringing together investors, you're bringing together mentors, you have entrepreneurs in a community, you have service providers such as law firms and accounting firms. I mean, entrepreneurs are building businesses, and when they build them, you have all of these other pieces that kind of follow along. I mean, we're Palm Beach Tech, we live in Palm Beach here, and we have the highest concentration of billionaires north of us, north of Jupiter. So there's money here. And, to kind of, for the community down here, just re-stressing that and kind of showing, if we can show these investors or these billionaires or these businesses, how many corporations have annex offices down here in Miami and in Palm Beach and whatnot, we can show that there's a need for these accelerators because we have all these wonderful companies and entrepreneurs coming out of South Florida. It's one of those, if we build it, they will come kind of thing. And so it's just, I think accelerators just add so much to the ecosystem down here that you can't really go wrong. And the more that we're out in the public and showing as a team and a community, we're all working together, we're all sharing these resources, and the end goal is to create jobs and create entrepreneurs. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
No,
go ahead,
go ahead,
John.
please.
No, you go first. I went first last time.
Okay, sorry. It's a problem with Zoom and not being live
I
in
know,
person.
it's so hard.
Well, I always describe accelerators and related programs as truly economic development engines, and I reinforce that over and over in every conversation I have, because what they truly do, if they're working correctly, is they're linking the innovation ecosystem that results in the linking of the entrepreneurship community. And it's not just local, it's regional, it's national, it's international impact. And they provide the resources that allow organizations or ideas or services to scale very quickly if they're done right. But for me, there are really 6 primary outcomes of accelerators in terms of being an economic development engine, and it's breakthrough ideation, it's the creation of new technologies, it's new and demanded skills for the workforce that need to support these efforts, it's new jobs, it's new company formation, and then it's the growth of companies where you're looking at these early stage young startup companies that truly have the ability to scale. When you add all of that together in terms of how it comes back to the economy and the growth of a region, this is where South Florida, I think, has probably the largest opportunity out of any other region in the country right now.
Yeah, I'll definitely piggyback and add to what Jessica and John just said. And on top of, economic development, when you think about it in general terms of jobs and, things like that, I think when you look at it from if you live in this community standpoint, it's really bringing amazing, innovative ideas and companies and culture to the community that we live in. That's something, there are very smart, innovative people here who, until I'd say probably 5 years ago, felt like they needed to move out of South Florida to bring their ideas to life. And so one of the important things I think about, not only just accelerators, but this entire ecosystem growing and working together, is that we get to support that here in South Florida. We get to create that, we get to be, create the future of amazing companies that are built out of here, that create jobs, that attract talent, that make it so Todd has to create a coding school to support all of those companies here. I mean, it's just, that's exciting because South Florida is a great place to live, but, before it kind of had a very traditional, I would say, business community, and now we're getting to see more of that innovative, development of ideas and the future being kind of created right here, which is very, very exciting. So I think that's really the importance of setting the tone for that and really transforming South Florida into a hub that people want to be a part of and want to live in, and that we can be really proud of and can see some exciting, ideas and companies coming out of.
Very good. Miguel, oh, sorry, Miguel, did you want to say something? Okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I know, Zoom, sometimes we're just talking about that. I can't tell who wants to talk and who doesn't. I always try to pay attention. I did want to ask if a couple of you or all of you wanted to share, because a lot of you have had really successful companies come out of your accelerator programs. Can you share any success stories or anybody that maybe you want to highlight, or maybe that the community is familiar with but didn't realize came from your programs?
Sure, I'm happy to take a stab at that one. So we just wrapped up our recent Miami Growth Program last week. I mentioned the 3-tier or the 3-phase program, and we're very excited because the average revenue month-on-month growth rate after going through our program was north of 60%. A typical investment or VC fund looks for about 30% month-on-month growth, which is phenomenal. So we're about double that, which made us very proud. It kind of proved out and validated the model that we created. But leading the pack was actually a startup named Concierge Pad, based here in South Florida, out of Miami. Their month-on-month revenue growth rate is 122%. They provide security services for for schools, for nursing homes, really any type of location where our loved ones live. So it's awesome. It's awesome to see the growth that they have. It's awesome that they're exhausted because of their growth. That's their complaint to us. So that's a good problem to have. But yeah, we couldn't be prouder of them and a lot of the other startups the other 5 that made it all the way to the end. So we're very, very excited.
So I just want to add to something. We're not open yet, so we don't have any successful startups, but I can tell you that we're engaged with some potential winners. But I wanted to twist the question a little bit, because as South Florida grows and really truly defines itself as a tech hub and something that others are going to be very jealous of, I think we're going to leapfrog over certain communities across the nation, and we're going to be measuring our success not only on what these accelerators are doing, but also I think it's important to note a statistic that South Florida is number 1 in the nation in terms of the number of startups, but we're also number 36 out of 40 if you look at the Kaufman Index as a ranking in terms of scale up, meaning that we don't have a lot of success scaling companies, and there's selected reasons as to why that is. And it really comes down to 2 primary things. One, it's access to the skilled talent that have the credentials for these emerging industries and opportunities, but also it's access to funding, whether it's the love money from the rich uncle, which is readily available, but getting beyond that to the venture capital and angel investor networks or institutional financing can be a huge challenge, and that's an area that we have to improve upon. So as we look towards the future and success in South Florida as a tech hub, I think that we're going to see more startups that are sustainable and they scale because we're going to improve upon that skills development and that access to the funding mechanisms.
So I'll jump in and kind of twist this question a little bit too, because when I read it, it was, some pretty successful companies. And I actually had just had a conversation with our mentor board last week about what is success? Like, what is considered success when you talk about a startup? So we have, many of you might have heard, we have Chipmunk, Jan Bednar, 30 under 30 on Forbes. He does TED Talks. He started this program he started his business as a college student in 2015. And at this point now, he's in 3 different states. He just raised 10 million in capital. And last year he exceeded 140 million in sales. And this is a 26-year-old who started in Tech Runway in a little cage doing distribution. But then on the flip side, we have companies that are nonprofits. And, they're not doing it for revenue and whatnot, but they're like Child Rescue Coalition. They're saving kids from child predators, and they're international now. They're working with all sorts of law enforcement agencies around the world. They were Carly Youst was the L'Oreal's Women of Worth winner in 2016. So it's, we have so many successes, I think, coming out of all of these programs. And the best part, I think, about my job is their successes are kind of determined. What they think is successful might be different than what others might. Some think it's how much revenue you've made, but then you have nonprofits that are like, how many kids can I save? So there's a lot of successes coming out of here. There's a lot of potential for growth. There's a lot of industries that are moving down here and staying down here. And I think all of these programs, especially if we can continue to work together and share resources. And for example, companies that come apply to my program, I might not be able to help. We don't have the resources. I want to pass them on to these other accelerators who can, because the goal is to build these entrepreneurs and create jobs and whatnot. And yeah, I think all of us are, have successes in some way, and it's exciting.
Yeah, I'll just very quickly chime in because we're new too. So this is only our 2nd year, operating as a program, but definitely it's exciting to see companies that are still existing, right? That's one of the biggest parts, as Miguel alluded to earlier, like a lot of companies don't make it. So what we want to see is sustainability. We want to see businesses that are functioning, that are raising money, that are bringing in revenue. And one of the things for us, especially at an early stage, is seeing companies that continue to get access and support. So we were really excited to see, 2 of the companies in our program that got into FPL's incubator. That's a big deal, just to have that support as well in the community and allow companies to continue on in their growth and get the support they need. So, they develop their ideas, they build the foundation that they need, and then they can go, get funding and work with a company that's willing to take them. And, when I look at some of those companies, especially in sustainability, those are 10-year projects, and so getting commitments for that from funders and the support from that from our community is huge, because it's not an overnight turnaround, but it's incredibly important. It's super exciting to see it being done here. So that's just things we're really proud of too, is looking at the long-term impact, that these businesses are going to have, and seeing the community support that. So it's just really exciting. I could talk about our founders like all day long because I love them, and that's why I get up every morning, is to hear all the exciting ideas, and they're passionate about what they're doing. But I think just the future here, there's so much to come from it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you to all of you too. And I was going to say, after that comment you had made, Shana, that's one thing I think from all 4 of you and really any accelerator program, is that you guys are just as much as invested into their, companies as sometimes I think they are. And yeah, I mean, you guys, it's your blood, sweat, and tears also. So I think I can see why you guys are very emotional and very connected and very passionate about what you do. So it's a very good thing. I wanted to go through, because you've got about 10-15 minutes left. So I just wanted to go through a quick rapid fire here, question for each of you. I'm going to start with Shana. So the grand finale of 1909's Accelerator program is, your big pitch night, which takes place in front of, for anybody that doesn't know, local investors, entrepreneurs, with the intent of helping them get their, great ideas to come to life. Can you talk a little bit about this event and the success that it's produced?
Sure. So it's a little bit different this year than it was last year. Last year we did a huge, what we called 1909 Fest, with music and food and lots of people shoved together in a small space, which we can't do this year. But I would say one of the biggest opportunities is for these companies not only to get in front of, potential investors and get funding, but it's really to share with the community. And, one of our goals as well is to let the community at large know about the ideas and the businesses that are here being built in their local community. Because at the end of the day, the next opportunity usually for a founder can be one meeting, can be one relationship, can be one connection. And so anytime we can give these businesses exposure to share their ideas, to prep them to be able to share their ideas, right, in a powerful way so that people get what they're doing, why it's important, and the impact is really important. To kind of get them on stage to share with the world. And then also, again, bringing in the community, bringing in some dollars to build excitement around that, so that they can do, often, I wouldn't say like these events bring in huge dollars, but it gets them a little bit to move forward and, again, gets them the connection. So, last year, the founders that won our pitch competition, who I kind of referenced before, now got into FPL, they actually pitched in front of somebody from FPL who's very high up, who was helping develop their incubator program. So again, just getting in front of people, you never know where you're going to get that next big opportunity. And so one of our jobs is to amplify what these businesses are doing, get them in front of the right people, so that those connections can move forward. So that's a big deal. We love showcasing. This year, we're actually doing Collab Weekend this upcoming weekend, which is 3 days. It's a hackathon style. 14 of the startups in our program are going to get paired with teams. They're going to get talent to essentially build their businesses and kind of take them to the next level. Then they're going to present the solutions. Ryan's going to be the leader of a team, and Todd's going to be on a team. He's bringing a bunch of Boca Code students out to help, and then we're going to kind of rate those teams, and the top 5 will go to the graduation night where they'll be able to present their ideas. So we're just really excited. Again, it's great energy for the community. It's a great way to showcase what's going on here.
Thank you so much, Shana. And actually, Monica, if you can drop the link, or Shana, whoever, in chat for the Collab Weekend. I don't know if you guys are still looking for mentors, but I think that's definitely an awesome event to get involved in, especially any of our community that can support that. Also, so I wanted to, this next question is for Miguel, and please correct me if I'm wrong on any of the stats here, Miguel, but I'd seen online that 500 startups standard accelerator deal is $150,000 investment. Is that correct?
Yes, for our flagship program in San Francisco.
Okay. Perfect. So my question is, as an investor, what do you think is the most optimal way for a startup to use that investment? And I know that's kind of a trick question there, but I just wanted to see what your answer is.
Yeah, my answer will be also a trick answer. It really just depends. That's part of the thing that we look into when deciding if we make an investment or not. Just to be super clear, the only investment program, the Miami program, is not an investment program. It's simply a training program. So for our San Francisco Accelerator, it essentially acts as the deployment vehicle for our VC fund. And so that's what we look for. It's what's the game plan that you have for this investment. And every startup is going to have a completely different answer to that, and that's okay. So there's not really a main answer or a main recommendation. It really is just going to depend on the stage, what the startup is looking to accomplish, and what their needs are at the current moment. But the best answer usually gets the investment. So that's what I'll say there.
Thank you, Miguel. My next question goes to John. So as the NSU Broward Center of Innovation prepares to open their doors, which I think we were just talking about, this was July, right? Or June? I forget what you told me. I know it's in the summer.
July. Yep.
July.
Mm-hmm.
How are you planning on attracting tech startups to the region?
So it's a great question, and it's extremely challenging. And unfortunately, we've had time on our side to really strategically think about what this looks like. And Broward County, for some reason, seems to be the redheaded stepchild often when we talk about Palm Beach County and Miami-Dade. So we're twisting that into a positive opportunity that we can better link the Tri-County region together. So what we're doing to attract new startups from outside of our local community is, number one, we've created a board of 16 very influential members that represent different sectors that are directly and indirectly related to technology. So there's a national and international network as a result of being able to do that. We're also creating an advisory council that is literally unlimited in terms of the number of participants, but this is a roll up your sleeves group that are connected to the technology sector, again, locally, nationally, and internationally, where there's going to be boots on the ground that addresses what the challenges are and how do we use those to create opportunities and new strategies that we can successfully implement, again, mainly around talent and access to funding. And then we're working with a number of community stakeholders like the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance as our economic development arm for the county, the Broward Workshop, which consists of the top CEOs in our community, a number of industry partners that are local as well as national as well as international that are looking to create co-located space where we can have research and development opportunities within our own facility. And then we're also looking at opportunities to bring in entrepreneurs locally so that we can home grow, and ultimately the success will be our ability to recruit locally and to train locally and to place or start new companies locally and then retain sustainable businesses. But our ecosystem goes way beyond Broward County and the South Florida market. It literally goes nationwide, and we've invested very heavily into a software platform that's going to be a game changer for our model that we'll be able to share with community stakeholders as partners, including many people that are here on this screen, that's going to bring increased exposure and access to resources that currently don't exist or are very limited supply.
That's wonderful. I'm really excited for you guys, and I'm going to have to ask for a tour at some point because I want to see the space.
We open the up for anybody that wants to come. We're more than happy to show it to you at any time. It's a hard hat environment, but we're happy to do it.
Awesome. I have to check that off on my box soon, Joe. So take note of that. My last question here, Jessica. So it's emphasized on the FAU Tech Runway website that mentors receive formal training. Can you talk a little bit about this training and what's the benefits to that?
Sure, I'll explain the mentor program a little bit here. So we at Tech Runway, mentoring is really the cornerstone of our program. We offer a lot of great educational resources and just industry resources and whatnot, but mentoring is really where we hear companies come to our program. So we follow MIT Venture Mentoring Service Program and best practices. We actually, in prior years, we actually would fly up to Boston, 5 or 6 mentors, 1 or 2 of the staff members, just as a refresher. It's a really great organization, and they do best practices, not a strict structured program, because they work internationally. So it's really great because they kind of give you an a la carte menu and you can pick what works best for your program. But that being said, once they go through the training, or mentors who are interested in joining, they have to go through an application process. They actually have to interview we have a new mentor interview board that we pulled together so that these current mentors who have been in the program for years will actually interview those new mentors to see if they're actually a fit. Because sometimes people are not coming in for altruistic reasons. They want to come in because they want to get the next deal, and that's not allowed. These mentors are coming in volunteering their time. They're not allowed to take any equity stake. They're not allowed to be on any boards. They're not allowed to do any hiring. They are really here to help. The other big piece is we follow team mentoring. So we don't give 5 mentors and then the companies and the mentors connect whenever they get a chance. We require them once a month to get into a room for an hour and a half and meet and talk about the business and come up with next steps. And what we find is it helps with conflict-free mentoring, because you always have somebody kind of doing checks and balances. So you're not going to hear one voice, because sometimes that one voice doesn't know all, or they might be in it or saying something for the wrong reasons. But it gives everybody the ability to give an opinion, voice different perspectives. And at the end of the day, the big thing to remind our companies is this is your company. So these mentors are here to guide you, but you don't have to do what they tell you to do. This is your company. So we have a mentor board. We determined a couple years ago that would really help out. We as the administrators and operations on the back end, we're not kind of, boots on the ground in all of these meetings. So we felt the mentor board really helped. It also helps us on our end because when we have an issue, the mentor board can step up and make those calls. And because it's peer-to-peer, it helps us kind of get across what we're trying to either tweak, change, or if there's an issue. Additionally, we also will transition mentors out and in depending on what the companies need. And we always ensure that we don't have an overabundance of certain mentors with industry expertise on each company's team. So you're not going to find 3 marketing people. We're trying to give them a well-rounded mentor group. And what we found is after they graduate, many of these mentors will stay on, they'll continue mentoring them, and the companies really do get the perspective and the information they need to keep moving forward, because getting all these brilliant minds into a room when you have an early stage entrepreneur who doesn't even know what a term sheet is or what it means to, what an investor is looking for or what a customer is looking for, it really does help to have that professional background and that person that they can respect, giving them that advice and that push. And many of them will also open their networks up. So we have a whole other group of people that are volunteering their time and also willing to give their network over to these entrepreneurs. So didn't really go into like the training part, but that kind of is, it's these mentors are vetted and they're brought in and they do a little bit of training, but we bring them in because they are the best of the best. And many of them actually work with your accelerators as well. These are individuals that just want to give back and grow the community.
That's wonderful, Jessica. Yeah, and as you were talking, I see in the audience here a lot of head nodding. So I'm guessing there's a lot of people agreeing with what you're saying here. And I think mentors are a super important part of probably all of your programs. So thank you for kind of giving us that overview there. And we just have a couple minutes left. So I do want to ask a couple questions that came from the audience here. So this one is for you, Miguel. Ryan is asking, do you have metrics for revenue targets in the 500 Startups Accelerator? And if so, what are those?
No metrics. In terms of getting into the program, as I mentioned earlier, we look for startups that are a little bit later stage, not necessarily like beyond Series A or anything. But we do ask that something will be beyond an MVP and making some type of revenue. What that revenue is not as important as the product, the people, what I mentioned earlier. Now, once you make it into the 3-phase program, in order to make it all the way to phase 3, we do need to see certain metrics being hit. And then particularly after phase 2, we do need to see that there is revenue growth. So that is, again, more important than necessarily a specific number. But that's how we work your way through the program. We joke around and we say that we've introduced Darwinism into VC. So at that point, we'll get to specifics, but to get in, no.
Perfect, thank you for that. And another question through the private chat was on the mentoring topic again, is for people that are interested in mentoring within your programs, could you guys quickly tell the audience maybe a couple things that you're looking for in your mentors for anybody that's interested?
For us, it's along with industry and functional expertise, and there's a whole list of them that I can provide to anybody on my end of what we're looking for. But if you have a business background, you're probably going to fall under one of these a functional industry expertise. It's really the time commitment. You are volunteering, so on our end, it's this is a free service that we provide to the companies. This is something to benefit them. So it's do they have the time to commit to this? We're not asking for a lot of time, but it's potentially between 4 and 10 hours a month. And for some people that doesn't work, and for others it does. That's the big thing, because we do have a lot of mentors that will come in and they'll be really gung-ho, and then life happens. These are business professionals. They might start their own business. They might move. They might, their business might pick up and they can't continue on. It's just being honest with us and honest with the entrepreneurs, and understanding that the entrepreneurs are they're following and being compliant with our program and trying to do what they need to do to succeed, and that the mentors need to honor their commitment. And, you know, we're willing to work with everybody on this. If you need to take a break, but it's more of just respecting the program, respecting the entrepreneurs, and just, you know, being respectful for the other mentors, because that's the biggest thing. But in regards to actually becoming a mentor, just, we have an application process. It's not hard. It's just you need to apply and then meet with our group. And then if it's a fit, it's a fit. If it's not, there'll be a reason, and we'll go from there.
If I could just add to, I think we're in agreement with everything that Jessica said. We're in the process of creating a mentor model, and it was rightfully pointed out that the right mentor has to come into your environment. They can't be there looking for the next best thing. They have no bias, no judgment. They're there to help support a safe environment for the entrepreneur. So for us, we'll have an official intake program in which we certify mentors, in quotes, to make sure that they have not only the right background, but the interest and the commitment, but they're there for the right reasons, which is extremely important.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And we're actually right at time. So we're perfect timing. It's 9 o'clock. I wanted to just thank all of the panelists and everybody for attending today. And please, you know, if anybody is interested, because I see a lot of the comments here in chat, even some of the private comments, if you are interested in being a mentor, please reach out to these accelerator programs. If any of you have any information or links or anything that you'd like to send to me, I'll make sure to get that out in our follow-up email. I'd be happy to send that to everybody. But again, thank you so much, and hopefully everybody has a wonderful day today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.